The story begins with an image that sparks curiosity. A man lies sprawled on the grass, dollar bills fluttering near him while a helicopter looms overhead like a mechanical vulture. What happened? What's coming? We're not told. Not yet. Instead, the story jumps back to a quiet Texan town on Halloween. Kids giggle through the streets in costume, free on sugar highs and imagination. But inside the Perry house, things are different. There's no candy here, no cobwebs or carved pumpkins. Religion has swept through this home like a fire drill, snuffing out every festive spark. Gladys Perry, the stern mother, insists that as Jehovah's Witnesses, they're spiritually above such frivolities. When trick-or-treaters knock, she calmly dismisses them. No candy, just doctrine. Meanwhile, at a nearby prison, a guard named Larry Billings heads back in to grab some paperwork. But unbeknownst to him, two inmates, Butch Haynes and Terry, are plotting their escape, crawling through air vents like budget die-hard stunt doubles. Butch tells Terry that once they cross the state line, they're splitting up. He doesn't like the guy. Terry agrees. The duo hijacks Larry's car, with Larry still inside, and make it to a small town. There, Terry smells bacon wafting from the Perry home and decides it's time for an unsolicited breakfast raid. He bursts into the kitchen, grabs Gladys and assaults her, even trying to force a kiss. Her son, Philip, walks in at the worst possible time. Terry slaps the boy hard. Butch, disgusted by the violence, punches Terry with such force his ears bleed. In a rare moment of twisted mentorship, Butch has Philip point a gun at him for fun, showing the boy just how powerless and dangerous he really is. The chaos escalates when a neighbor tries to intervene with a rifle. Butch diffuses the standoff calmly, warns him of stray bullets, and takes Philip hostage as they flee in Larry's car. Gladys can only watch in horror as her boy disappears down the road. News reaches the Texas Rangers. Red Garnett is called in, gruff and seasoned, leading the manhunt alongside Sally Gerber, a criminologist sent by the governor. Red doesn't want her there. The team also gets a shiny, tech-filled trailer that looks like a spy movie set designed by Martha Stewart. As they roll out, Sally has to prove herself fast just to stay on board. Out on the run, Terry wants to contact his cousin. Butch agrees, but is already planning how to ditch him. While Terry searches a phone book like a man born in the wrong century, Butch quietly plots. Eventually, Terry's constant whining and hostility push Butch over the edge. He has Philip take the wheel momentarily, because nothing says great parenting like hostage driving, and breaks Terry's nose. Later, in a small store, Butch gives Philip the gun and has him aim it at Terry just in case. Terry tries to manipulate the kid, but when he grabs him, Philip bites his hand and escapes into a cornfield. Butch finds the boy first and, with eerie calm, walks back and shoots Terry in the face. They're back on the road. Butch takes a moment to explain to Philip that their car is actually a time machine, metaphorically at least. He teaches him about the gas and brake, calling it a way to choose the future or the present. It's whimsical until it's not. They find a Ford outside a remote house. Philip pretends to be a cowboy, scouts it out, finds keys and a radio, and even gets a potty break. But when Butch tries to grab clothes from a clothesline, the farmer notices. A chase ensues. Philip saves the day again, biting hands is becoming his signature move, and they flee. Back at HQ, Sally tells Red about Butch's traumatic childhood. His mother's suicide, his father's abandonment, and a prison sentence harsher than necessary. Butch and Philip grow closer, bonding over shared loneliness, RC Cola, and terrible dads. They stop at a store, and Philip steals a Casper costume. He wants it desperately, maybe because a ghost feels less invisible than he does. When the store clerk tries to call the cops, Butch scares him silent. They speed off, partners now, fully in sync. Butch later forgives Philip for stealing, kind of. He argues that if the world won't give you anything fair, sometimes you just take what you need. It's messy logic, but makes sense to a kid desperate for meaning. Philip's embarrassed by the costume at first, but Butch assures him that everything about him is fine, even the parts he's unsure of. It's oddly tender. Meanwhile, the law's on their tail. Red and Sally pass the fugitives without realizing, until Sally spots the Casper mask and yells to turn around. What follows is a ridiculous chase, ending in disaster as their shiny new trailer flies off the road like a failed moon launch and crashes into a tree. Meanwhile, Butch teaches Philip how to trick or treat. Jehovah's Witness rules be damned. They rob a kind old woman with smiles and a gun, score candy and cash, and celebrate Halloween a day late. Later, Philip accidentally lets the car roll. A nearby family offers help, and Butch, always quick, turns the situation to their advantage. He pretends to be Philip's dad, and they ride along. But when he sees the mother hit her kids for a minor spill, Butch's past trauma bubbles up. He forces the family out and steals the car. Another line crossed. They stop at a diner. Butch flirts with the waitress, tells lies about adoption and dead wives, while Philip watches from outside, heartbroken and confused. After, Philip asks why Butch kissed the woman. Butch tries to explain, because it feels good, but eventually adds, "Yeah, I love her," just to ease the boy's discomfort. They stop in a cornfield to rest. Philip wants to go home. Butch promises he will, but first asks the boy to make a bucket list. Cotton candy, fairs, freedom. Later, they accept an invitation from a farmer named Mac to sleep on his land. But the next morning, Butch sees Mac hit his grandson. Furious, Butch can't let it slide. He teaches the boy gymnastics, plays old records, tries to bring joy to the place. But when he hears Mac's abuse again, he snaps. He ties the family up and prepares to kill the man. Trust crumbles. Philip, now afraid of the man he once saw as a father figure, grabs the gun and shoots Butch in the gut. Crying, he flees. Butch, bleeding, spares the family and goes after the boy. He finds him hiding, praises his courage, and lets him drive. Butch reads him a postcard from his absent father and asks him again to come to Alaska. Philip breaks down, apologizes for shooting him. He's not ready to say goodbye. But time's up. Helicopters appear, cops swarm. Butch tries to hand Philip a postcard, but a twitchy agent misreads the move and fires a fatal shot. Philip, in tears, stays beside Butch. He refuses to go to his mother until the end. Butch, using his final strength, gives Philip his list, the dreams they planned together. As he dies, Red punches the agent who fired. Sally adds her own kick. Justice, it seems, has many forms. In the final scene, Butch stands alone in the grass once more, just like in the beginning. But now it's clear. He's no longer among the living. The circle closes. A perfect world? Maybe not. But for a few stolen days, Butch and Philip found something close. At its heart, a perfect world isn't really about a fugitive on the run or a child taken hostage. It's about the fragile, fleeting connection between two broken souls who were never given a real chance. One's a boy, quiet and sheltered, told what he can and can't believe. The other is a man, hardened by years of abandonment, violence, and injustice. And somehow, through a stolen car, a ghost costume, RC Cola, and 1,000 little moments, they find something that neither of them expected: trust. Butch Haynes wasn't a good man by the world's standards. He killed, he stole, he lied. But to Philip, he was the first adult who ever listened, who ever asked him what he wanted out of life. He taught him how to dream in a world that told him dreaming was wrong. And Philip, in turn, gave Butch something he'd lost long ago: hope. Not hope for freedom or redemption, but hope that maybe, just maybe, he wasn't completely broken. That maybe he could still protect someone, be someone. This movie teaches us that people aren't black and white. They're gray, complicated, and full of contradictions. A kidnapper can be a father figure. A criminal can be kind. A Jehovah's Witness boy can long for candy and costumes, and a violent man can want nothing more than to build a better future for a boy who's not even his. It shows us how deeply childhood trauma runs, and how cycles of pain keep repeating until someone decides enough is enough. Butch tried to be that someone. In his flawed, desperate way, he tried. And maybe that's the tragedy. That someone who finally found love, even in a stolen moment, wasn't allowed to keep it. That when he reached for connection, the world still saw a threat. Maybe what hits hardest is how it ends. Not with sirens or justice, but with a hug, a promise, and a bullet that was never deserved. A perfect world reminds us that even in chaos, even in the ugliest corners of life, there can be beauty. There can be love. And sometimes, the most important journey isn't running from the law. It's running toward a feeling we never had the courage to believe in. So if you've ever felt unwanted, unseen, like the world passed you by, remember Philip. Remember Butch. And remember that sometimes, the best parts of ourselves show up in the most unexpected people and the most imperfect places. If this story touched your heart, please share it with your friends. If you like this story, subscribe to the channel. See you in the next recap.